Have you ever noticed the person who feels everything but says nothing? They smile at the right time. They nod. They listen. And inside, it is like a whole storm is happening, but you would never know. They are the one who remembers the exact sentence you said 3 months ago, the one who notices you are quieter than usual, the one who can feel the vibe change before anyone else even reacts. Maybe that person is someone you love. Maybe it is your friend who always says, "I am fine." Or maybe, if we are being honest, it is you. Today we are decoding the psychology of people who feel deeply but stay silent. Not because they do not care, not because they are cold, but because their mind learned a very specific way to survive. And the scary part? Silence can look like strength, until it starts to feel like loneliness. Until you realize you have been strong for so long, you forgot what it feels like to be held. Point 1. They have hyper-awareness, so they edit themselves before you even speak. Some people walk into a room and just exist. These people walk into a room and scan. They notice tone shifts, micro-expressions, the pause before someone answers. Who interrupts who? Who looks away first? This is called high emotional sensitivity, and in psychology, it often connects to something called attentional bias. Your brain learns to focus on signals that predict danger or rejection. So even normal moments can feel loaded. When you feel everything, you also predict everything. You rehearse conversations in your head. You choose words like, "they are fragile glass." And you keep quiet, not because you have nothing to say, but because you can see 10 ways it could go wrong. You might think they are calm, but inside, their mind is working overtime. Silence becomes a filter, a way to avoid being misunderstood, a way to avoid giving people ammunition. And if they grew up in a home where moods changed fast, this becomes automatic. They learned that reading the room was safer than expressing the self. They became a translator of emotions before they ever got to be a speaker of their own. Point 2. They confuse being low maintenance with being emotionally independent. Here's a truth nobody says out loud. Some people are praised for not needing much. They are called mature, easy, strong. So they start to believe that wanting support is weakness. They confuse silence with control, and they confuse loneliness with peace. This is where emotional intelligence gets twisted. Yes, they can regulate emotions. Yes, they can stay composed. But sometimes that composure is not regulation. It is suppression. Suppression is when you shove an emotion down so it does not show. And research shows suppression can raise stress in the body, even if the face looks fine. That is why they can look okay and still feel exhausted for no clear reason. So they carry pain privately. They handle problems alone. They tell themselves, "I do not want to be a burden." But what they really mean is, "I do not trust that my needs will be met." This often comes from attachment patterns. If you learned early that closeness is unpredictable, you may develop an avoidance style. You still feel love. You still feel fear. You just do it quietly, because needing people once felt unsafe. So they become the helper, the listener, the one who texts back with advice, while their own heart stays unread. And when someone finally asks about them, they laugh it off, because seriousness feels too intimate. Point 3. They fear conflict, because conflict once meant loss. For most people, an argument is just an argument. For them, an argument feels like a breakup waiting to happen. So they swallow words. They let things slide. They say it is okay when it is not. They apologize first, even when they are the one who was hurt. This is not weakness. It is conditioning. If your past taught you that honesty leads to punishment, your brain links truth with danger. That is classical conditioning in real life, and the body remembers it. Even as an adult, your nervous system can react like a child. Your chest tightens, your throat closes. Your mind says, "Do not make this worse." So they choose peace over expression. But here is the catch. Avoided conflict does not disappear. It just turns into distance. And the longer they stay silent, the more resentment grows. Not loud resentment, quiet resentment. The kind that makes you feel tired around someone you once loved. The kind that makes you answer slower, care less, and slowly stop trying. This is why some of the most emotionally intense people leave without drama. No shouting, no explanations, just a cold goodbye. Because their emotions were never absent. They were just unspoken for too long. Point 4. They intellectualize feelings because logic feels safer than vulnerability. Ask them how they feel, and they will tell you what happened. They will explain the situation like a documentary narrator. They can describe emotions, but they struggle to reveal them. They might even feel the emotion in their body, but they cannot translate it into simple words. This is called intellectualization, a defense mechanism where the mind turns emotion into analysis. It protects you from feeling exposed. They will say, "It is not a big deal," or "I understand why they did it," or "It makes sense," and maybe it does. But understanding is not the same as processing. Processing looks messy. Processing is tears you did not plan. Processing is saying, "That hurt," and not apologizing for it. People who say nothing often fear that if they open the door, everything will spill out. So they keep the door locked. They become good at empathy, but bad at receiving it. They also ruminate. They replay the same moment, trying to find the perfect response they never gave. Rumination feels productive, but it is really emotional looping. And because they are so self-aware, they shame themselves for having emotions at all. They think, "I should be over this." They confuse emotional pain with personal failure. Sometimes they look confident on the outside, but inside they are comparing themselves to everyone. Social comparison theory explains it. They measure their reactions against others and decide theirs are too intense. So they hide. They become experts at emotional granularity in private, naming dozens of feelings, but in public they reduce it to one word: fine. That one word becomes a mask they wear until it sticks. That is cognitive distortion. Specifically, should statements, and it keeps them trapped. Point 5. They are loyal to an invisible rule. If I am silent, I stay in control. Control is not always about dominance. Sometimes, control is just trying not to fall apart in front of anyone. When you feel intensely, you learn that emotions can hijack you, so you build rules. Do not cry in public. Do not ask twice. Do not show jealousy. Do not talk about your insecurities. These rules create a sense of power, but they also create isolation, because closeness requires risk, and risk requires disclosure. Here's the paradox. They want to be seen, but they also fear being seen. They crave connection, but they test it quietly. They watch if you notice the small changes. They wait to see if you ask, "Are you okay?" without them having to confess first. This is not manipulation. It is protective hope. They are looking for proof that love is safe, that someone can handle their depth, that they do not have to perform happiness to be accepted. But if nobody asks, they take it as confirmation. I knew it. My feelings do not matter. That is negativity bias. The mind gives more weight to evidence of rejection than evidence of care. So they stay quiet, and the world keeps calling them strong, while they feel invisible. And invisibility hurts more than rejection, because it feels like you do not even exist. Now, let us bring it together. People who feel everything but say nothing are not empty. They are full of thought, full of empathy, full of memories they never turned into words, full of love they express through actions, not sentences. Their silence is usually a strategy, a skill they learned when emotional honesty felt risky, a way to stay composed, stay liked, stay safe. But safety has a price, and the price is being unknown. If you are this person, here is the lesson. Your emotions are not too much. They are information. And your needs are not a burden. They are part of being human. Start small. Name one feeling out loud. Not a story, not an explanation, just a feeling. Sad, anxious, overwhelmed. And notice how the world does not end. And if you know someone like this, do not push them to open up. Invite them. Be consistent. Ask gentle questions. And when they finally speak, do not rush to fix them. Just stay. Because sometimes the most healing sentence is not advice. It is, I hear you. If this video described you or someone you care about, you are not alone, and you are not broken. You are just someone with a deep inner world. If you want more psychology that feels like a mirror, tap subscribe and tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you feel but rarely say out loud?